Let's take a look at the answers for the rules 1 through 10 review. So remember that for job 4, it's accumulation of all of the rules that we learned so far, including the cross-referencing rules. Similar to the job 4, you're going to have an order column here. So instead of putting the numbers next to them like jobs 1 through 3, you'll be using the Google Sheet to write the numbers. Keep in mind that you should not be using Google Sheets or Microsoft Excels or anything's sorting function. You need to sort these in order yourself by putting the number next to the correct filing segment and name. So don't try to cheat it and try to do a shortcut. Some of you probably noticed that when you sorted it in either Excel or Google Sheets that it didn't do it properly. And that's important because you shouldn't be doing that anyway. You need to be doing it on your own. Okay, one thing that you'll also notice that's not on here is that in job 4, you'll actually also have street addresses as well. So it might be 1, 2, 3, and I'll just do Elm Street with the city, state, and zip code. Okay, and that's because you'll come into some situations where the city and the state match. So you might have 2 people or 2 businesses with the same name, with the same city and state. So remember that if all of those match, you then have to include the street name in your filing segment. Okay, and you can review this in chapter 5 of your e-text. Okay, but I just want to go over some of these that hopefully you are able to do most on your own. A lot of this is self-explanatory. Remember that you don't include any punctuations. Reverend Charles Rogers. Okay, because we have this title as Reverend, that's going to be last. We don't create a cross-reference for Rogers because we only would if his last name could be confused with a first name, and Rogers isn't a common first name. Maybe if it was Roger, but no cross-reference needed here. The St. John Police Department, this brings us back to the rule on articles and particles, where we would combine St. John or Van Dyke and things of that nature. Whenever we have a federal government notation, that means that this is part of the United States government. And that's why here you'll notice, as well as in job 4, and I believe as well as job 3, that you'll have level 1, level 2, or level 3 included with the units here. That's because all federal governments, that level 1, is always United States government. Level 2 is the most important part of that department. So if this is Department of Homeland Security, Homeland Security is going to be first and then department, and then in parentheses the word of. And that's because of isn't an integral part of the filing segment, but it should still be noted in there. Okay, for this example here, we have Resource 1 Inc., and this is located in Pembroke, Maine. And the reason why in this example we have a city and a state, it's because we also have an instance where we have the same business located in Pembroke but a different state. And so if you recall from the rules, even though Maine just has the abbreviation, when you're indexing the city and the state, you need to write out the state's name in full. Okay, and there's going to be instances where you just have HI for Hawaii. Remember to write that out as HAWAII. Don't just use the abbreviation. If you take a look at this one here, we have Southwest Christian Church. And this brings us back to the cross-reference rule where we have a directional name in the business name. So if we have something like Southwest that's filed, we need to create a cross-reference for that similar name with South space West. Okay. And with similar names, you create a C also notation instead of just a C notation. So it's going to say C also and then Southwest without a space in between. Okay. And for similar names such as this, we only include that direction, such as Southwest. We don't include the entire business name. And that's because with this cross-reference, it covers any business which might have a space in between or that can be confused with a business name that doesn't have a space in between. Okay, for this next one, we have Ms. Shannon Quezada San Carlos. So this is a hyphenated name. So Quezada San Carlos is your key unit, Shannon, then Ms. Because it's a hyphenated last name, we do need to create a cross-reference for that. So the cross-reference is going to be for San Carlos, and then her first name, and then Quezada, and then Ms. Okay, and your C notation should be C, Quezada San Carlos, Shannon, Ms. Okay, here we have Mr. Bruce Unger, Springfield, Illinois. So if you recall from the very first one, this was simply, oops, and I accidentally deleted that. Anyway, it was Mr. Bruce Unger, and this was from Springfield, Oregon. Okay, so we did have two people named Mr. Bruce Unger in a city called Springfield, and because the cities matched, we do have to include the state. Notice that no matter what, the state needs to be spelled out. This next one was simply Mr. Albert Tuno, CRM. Remember that we file suffixes first, so his title of CRM is more important than Mr. So we file first by his last, then his first, and then his professional suffix, and then Mr. Okay, we also have a Stewart and Tuno Insurance Agency. Because these have two last names, we do need to create a cross-reference for that. So with that compound name in a business, our original filing segment had been Stewart and Tuno Insurance Agency. That tells me that the cross-reference needs to be for the second last name. So this becomes Tuno and Stewart Insurance Agency. And your C notation is C, Stewart and Tuno Insurance Agency. Okay, that's going to bring me to the next one. And let me scroll down a bit. Here we have Queen Noor. We're assuming that this is royalty, and that's not just her first name. So if she is royalty, Queen is going to be first, and then Noor is unit 2. Here's another federal government agency. So of course, the level 1 is United States government. The name of the department is Department of Agriculture. So when we write out level 2, the most important part of that is agriculture and then Department of. And of is in parentheses. If you're given either a service, a bureau, an office, or an agency, that's going to be level 3. And so we have the Forest Service. So level 3 is Forest Service. For this one, it's simply Tennessee State University. It's just the name of an organization. Here's the other Shannon San Carlos. So this is Ms. Shannon San Carlos, CPA. San Carlos is her key unit, Shannon is unit 2, and then her professional suffix, and then her title. Okay, here's the other instance of Resource 1 Inc. In Pembroke, Kentucky. So because Resource 1 Inc. and Pembroke was the same as another one, we are including the state here. Okay, and that's going to be the last unit. So remember we had that one in Maine. Again, make sure that no matter what, you write out the state in full. Even if it was an abbreviation with, I think it's KY for Kentucky, you would still write it out. For this one, we have a foreign name. And we're assuming first that Chi is the last name. So that's our unit, key unit. And Xiaoguang is unit 2. Because it's a foreign name, that's difficult to tell with first and last names. We create a cross-reference. The cross-reference is going to be filed under X for Xiaoguang, and then Qi. Okay. And your C notation would be to our original, which is C Qi Xiaoguang. Next we have South Carolina State Police. This can be indexed as written. That brings us to the next one, State of Tennessee Governor. So in these cases, when we have state government offices or even just the governor, we need to put in the state first. So our key unit is Tennessee. Unit 2 is state, unit 3 is of, and then finally the last unit here would be governor. That's because the name of the actual state is more important than the words state of. We also have another federal government, so United States government is level 1. And then we have the Department of the Interior. So remember that the name of the department is always your level 2. So this is Interior, Department, and then in parentheses is of the. And finally for level 3, the name of the bureau, office, agency, or service. So the Bureau of Indian Affairs, when we put this as level 3, is Indian Affairs, Bureau, and then of in parentheses. And then finally we have Rogers Machinery, Inc. And there's nothing special about that. We can just index that as it's written. Okay, so when you're working on job number 4, you'll also have the order column. And keep in mind that you're going to have to include the cross-references that you create in the order. Okay, and that's because cross-references are always filed in your filing cabinet with the rest of the numbers or the letters or whatever file folders that you have. So keep all of these things in mind as you're working on job 4, and good luck with this week's assignments.